Hello, my name is Brandon Ermshaw, and for my project in biology I chose sweet basil, but the scientific name is, sorry if I don't say it right, Ocimum basilicum, and it came to be after my mom went to the store. She got a bunch of seeds for her garden, and one of those seeds, just one, was a sweet basil seed. Man, crazy how those things grow up so fast. Man, look how big they've gotten. The sweet basil plants just grow up way too fast. I mean, look at this. I took this picture on May 27 at 8:40 p.m. And look how big they've already gotten. It's crazy, and it's only month 4. It's crazy big. Now this is a time lapse of basil growing. And basil does best in well-drained, moist soil with a neutral pH around 6.0 to 7.5. You don't need a whole lot of soil. In fact, if the soil's too rich, basil loses some of its flavor intensity. Now, my mom also is using Epsom salt and water to help repel slugs and raccoons. It also helps fertilize the dirt, so she uses a tablespoon a week to help fertilize the soil. She also uses worm castings, which are basically worm feces. She uses this once a month to help fertilize the soil even more. Basil also grows well in warm environments that receive about 6 hours of sunlight each day. You want to give basil water when the soil is dry almost to the touch, and try to get the water at its base instead of at its leaves so that it grows better and has a harder time of being soaked up by the sun. Depending upon the variety, basil grows anywhere from 12 to 24 inches in height, so you want to space your basil plants 12 to 16 inches apart. But if you are limited on space or only grow in containers, then I'd consider getting spicy globe basil, which tends to form a small mounding habit. Look at this. I took another picture just yesterday at 1:20 p.m. It looks almost the same. Just slight changes. Too slight that I can't really notice, but enough to change, at least slightly. Basil predators are most likely to be Japanese beetles, slugs, aphids, or leafhoppers. Grasshoppers, deer, earwigs, and even rabbits can also eat your basil. This is only a small part of the animals that could be eating your basil. There's so much more that can and will eat the basil. Now, I know what you're thinking. Aren't leafhoppers and grasshoppers the same thing? Well, no. Technically, grasshoppers have biting and chewing mouth parts, which will cause damage to plants by biting holes. Leafhoppers have piercing and sucking mouth parts, causing damage to the plants by sucking the plant sap from the leaves and growing shoots. Now, when you try and get rid of these pests, you usually want to start with organic insecticides, but if it still doesn't work, then you should start using regular pesticides. Now, around our garden, my mom put some marigolds around so that it would help keep away the animals, but it's not doing a very good job. So, I also found that having marigolds around your basil is also supposed to enhance the growth rate. Apparently, they can also keep slugs away from your crops and stick to eating the marigolds before moving on to your crops once they finish eating the marigolds. They are also supposed to be a good pollinator attractor. And my mom also put some cilantro by the basil in her garden just because she thought it looked good by where the sweet basil was. But I did some research and found that cilantro can help provide a pest-free garden, or at least keep bad bugs to a minimum. Because these two plants need the same amount of pH level in dirt, same amount of dirt, and since the roots don't get that big, they can be a good pair to have together. I also found that basil by itself is also supposed to repel flies and mosquitoes. The reason why it repels mosquitoes is because it is toxic to mosquito larvae, which is eggs. So you can put it near water to deter the mosquitoes from laying eggs. Some random facts about basil is that it is also a rich source of vitamins A, B6, C, and K minerals such as iron, magnesium, and manganese. And did you know that the term basil has its origins in the word basileus, and when translated from Greek means king? Basil is also recommended in herbals for the relief of dysentery, gas pains, nausea, and as a cure for worms and warts. Basil is also a member of the mint family, and in Italy, it is still a sign of love. Now, did you know that if basil is left dry, basil loses all of its properties and resembles hay? Now, basil also has an excellent digestive and anti-inflammatory property. Its extract is used in medicine to cure nausea and indigestion. And in some people, basil can cause low blood sugar, so you want to be careful when taking basil and make sure you know the risks before you go all in. Now, when properly activated, basil can also produce an electric LSD-like psychedelic effect. It's a great mood enhancer, aphrodisiac, and also produces some visual effects. And when not properly activated, this can produce a sedative effect that's almost like marijuana, but not at all psychedelic. Basil can also help counter elevated blood sugar levels and is therefore beneficial for diabetics. And according to the Central Drug Research Institute in Lucknow, India, basil can also help in maintaining normal levels of the stress hormone, which is cortisol in the body. Now, the basil plant originated from Central Asia and Africa. And now, the sad thing about basil is that it can be quickly killed by frost and slowly killed by mildews and fungal diseases. And having basil with honey and ginger is an effective remedy against bronchitis, asthma, influenza, and cold. Now, research has also shown that basil consists of phytochemicals which help naturally prevent cancer, including chemical-induced skin, liver, oral, and lung cancers. Basil can also increase antioxidant activity, positively alter gene expressions, encourage cancerous cell apoptosis, death of harmful cells, and stop cancerous tumors from spreading. In studies using animals, basil extract has shown protection against cancer and mortality while also selectively protecting normal tissue and cells from negative effects of cancer treatments like radiation or chemotherapy. Now, my last picture I took on May 31st at 6:30 p.m. Now, I would just like to thank you for watching this video.